Hey guys, AEW Dynamite results, AEW Rampage predictions, and Battle of the Belt 6 predictions coming at you in this episode. Clark is not here this time around, but I bet it was a special night for you guys, hearing Clark once again. Clark should be on TPW more often. Last time he was on was a while ago. I don't even remember the last time he was on, but I can tell you he will be on again, and I can also tell you that he should be on here more frequently. I'm not going to have him on every Wednesday or whatever, but I will have him on I will try to have him on decently frequently. I'm going to promise at least once a month. That's what I'm going to promise. But anyway, now let's actually go to Dynamite results. And boy, this is a long one. A lot of great stuff happened. A lot of amazing things happened. It was a great night. Rampage and Battle of the Belts 6 will be good. Seem to be good nights as well, especially because they're both live. Kingston, Rhode Island as well. This time around, Dynamite was on Long Island, New York, and Rampage is in Kingston, Rhode Island. That's a decent trip from New York to Rhode Island. I mean, that's not a big trip, but it's a decent trip. From Wednesday to Friday. 4 title defenses, 4 title matchups took place. And we saw MJF show up in his hometown of Long Island. Blackpool Comic Club showed up. The Acclaimed also responded to the Jericho Appreciation Society invitation to join them. Starting us off first, Ricky Starks took on Juice Robinson. Well, was supposed to take on Juice Robinson. AEW started off real quick with Jay White making his in-ring return. Well, not in-ring return, but he made his return to AEW, and he took out Ricky Starks and hugging Juice Robinson, kind of signaling that Jay White is still a part of Bullet Club, which is interesting. It's great to see Jay White back on AEW. I figured he'd be back on AEW. I didn't think he'd be signing with WWE, even when everybody was saying he was. And I'm excited to see where this goes. Ricky Starks and Juice Robinson, they were rivals for a while. Well, they've been rivals for a little bit. And Juice Robinson keeps throwing antics at Ricky Starks. And Switchblade Jay White showing up before the match even started, which, by the way, made it become a no contest. There was no matchup that even happened. That kind of adds to that. But it's interesting because Jay White has heat with David Finlay. Juice Robinson has heat with David Finlay. And David Finlay is a part of Bullet Club as well. So it's interesting to see where this is going. I have a feeling that David Finlay and some other members of Bullet Club will be having a matchup with Jay White and Juice Robinson, Ace Austin, and Chris Bay at Forbidden Door. I kind of have that feeling, but we'll see what happens. Tony Schiavone was backstage with Chris Jericho talking about Adam Cole's match and post-match celebration. He was also talking about how Daniel Garcia was disrespected from last week on Adam Cole's return. Keith Lee then showed up to talk about Jericho's disrespect he's shown to many in AEW. Lee issued a challenge to Jericho next week in Milwaukee to teach him a thing or two about respect. So it seems like Jericho and Lee is taking place next weekend. Sign me up. That should be a good matchup. I would love to see these two collide. Even if it was for Rampage. Actually, not many people would watch even still, but it could get some people talking. Because Lee and Jericho, not necessarily a dream match for me, but it is for sure one of the matches I would like to see. And I didn't even think about that when Lee showed up in AEW. Then the actual opening contest, we saw Best Friends in Orange Cassidy take on the House of Black for the Trios Championships. I predicted here that House of Black would win, with Malachi Black pinning Trent Beretta. That did not happen. Buddy Matthews, he pinned Chuck Taylor to get the victory. So, House of Black did retain the Trios titles. So I get points for House of Black retaining, but I don't get points from how the matchup ended. This was a pretty good match, though. I enjoyed it. Excalibur throws a video out of Christian Cage, who we haven't seen since Revolution, and he was standing in a hall with red lights, and Luchasaurus emerged. They both did not say a word, but the message was clear. They're back, and we're going to see them very soon, and it's great to see because Luchasaurus, his mask issues are apparently solved now, which is good. But it's great, also great to see that both of these two are even back. But they definitely got some time off, especially with Christian Cage's rivalry with Jack Perry. Jamie Hayter then looked to defend her championship against Riho. I predicted she did, and she did. It was a good matchup. Clark, he predicted that the Outcasts would get involved. They did not, so he does not get any bonus points for that. Speaking of the Outcasts, they were backstage with Renee Paquette. They mockingly congratulate Hayter for defending the title. Ruby Soho said for her not to get comfortable, as one of the Outcasts will become the new AEW Women's World Champion. And Tony Storm also noted that Jamie Hayter isn't the Women's World Champion. Whatever. Then we saw Angelo Parker, Jake Hager, and Matt Menard. They were at Ramp, and they were getting the Acclaim to come out. And the Acclaim showed up. Their answer was no, but during the rap, they kind of said it. They said it point blank, but the JS didn't seem to realize that they said no. As Angelo Parker put them in a tag match on Rampage. It was an 8-man tag match as well, as 2.0 and the Acclaimed are set to be in action. A video was shown of MJF being awarded a key to the city of Oyster Bay, and that's where we get into MJF Day. An introduction by Justin Roberts was for a swing band on stage as MJF walked out in a white tuxedo and a huge ovation. He broke out singing Pennies from Heaven in what was interesting enough. And the performance was pretty good, actually. I enjoyed it. That was a good moment. Then, the supervisor of the town of Oyster Bay, Joseph Saladino, presented MJF with a much bigger key to Long Island. And Saladino got booed real quick by the crowd. Then MJF had some trash talk to Jungle Boy, Sammy Guevara, and Darby Allin. He had some other words to say. Someone smashed cymbals right behind MJF's ears, and eventually it was revealed to be Jungle Boy, and the brawl was on. And Sammy Guevara made his entrance between both of them, with security holding MJF and Jungle Boy back. Then Sammy grabs the world title and hold it up at both MJF and Jungle Boy before making his way to the ring for his matchup against Commander. In this matchup, we both predicted Sammy Guevara would win, and he did. MJF, Darby Allin, and Jungle Boy all did watch that matchup. It was good for what it was. I think Commander did a little too many rope moves. Like he was walking over the rope trying to get people over, and I get it. I mean, trying to get the crowd to go crazy, and I get it. But once you do too many of those rope moves, it gets plain, it gets boring, and it doesn't feel right. But Commander did well otherwise. Hook then took on Ethan Page, in which Hook obviously defeated Ethan Page, but Matt Hardy finally did it. He turned his back on Ethan Page. He grabbed the FTW title belt, and he smashed Ethan Page right in the face with it. Oh, finally. That was amazing. Excalibur then threw it backstage to Nigel McGuinness, the newest broadcaster. Khan said before AEW was founded, 4 pioneers, the Young Bucks, Cody, and Kenny Omega, put on a show called All In, the biggest independent event of all time. 5 years later, the special announcement, here it is, AEW will make their debut in London, England on Sunday, August 7th for All In. Tony Khan brought in Adam Cole, who then announced that the place of where All In will be taking place is Europe's second largest stadium and the UK's biggest stadium, the Wembley Stadium. Holy crap. This announcement is massive. Now I understand why he said this was that this announcement was a very important announcement. This is massive. The capacity of the Wembley Stadium is 90,000. I mean, of course, they're probably going to have a humongous stage with a humongous ramp, and then that goes to the ring. And they might have some other things that lower the capacity. And I know that they like to put seats, like, very smushed together. So it'll probably be lower than that, but tickets will be on sale May 3rd. But it doesn't matter. This is the largest event AEW has done ever. Their largest event was like 20,000 people in Dynamite Grand Slam. This is so much bigger. This is a huge risk to take. But to be fair, it is in the Wembley Stadium, and for European fans, that's amazing. So a lot of European fans will get to go to the Wembley Stadium for All In a huge event. This was a great announcement. I thought it was going to fall flat, but it did kind of fall flat at the same time, though, because I was expecting something else, too. Like, Fight Forever. But the fact that this is what is announced is great. It's amazing. Then the Blackpool Comic Club, they showed up and they defeated some enhancement talent, which kind of gave the Blackpool Comic Club something to do. Bryan Danielson had a lot to say about everyone being amateurs and Blackpool Comic Club being professionals and that they're the only professionals. Hangman Page showed up, beats down Hangman Page. Me hoping the Dark Order show up. Me being disappointed because the Dark Order didn't show up. And that's pretty much it. FTR then took on the Guns in a titles versus career match. FTR put their AEW careers on the line, and the Guns put their AEW tag team titles on the line. This was amazing. The Guns got new music and fancier overall entrance presentation. And this was FTR's first matchup since Wrestle Kingdom. This was a great matchup. And the added factor of the Guns trying to disqualify the match. That, in most cases, interference and DQs don't work well. But in this situation, it worked really well for the matchup. Because the Guns, they wanted to retain the tag titles and get FTR to retire from All Elite Wrestling. So it worked out the way it did. But FTR, they became the new tag team champions. So they remain in AEW. That's the good news there. Mark Briscoe also showed up to celebrate with FTR, which I thought was a feel-good moment there as well. But now let's go to... Oh, wait. Rampage and Battle of the Belts predictions next. Okay, we're back. It's time for Rampage and Battle of the Belts 6 predictions. First of all, Julia Hart will take on Anna JAS. And I'd like to say something here. This is Julia Hart's first television matchup in 2023, I believe. I think that's right. Yeah, that sounds right. Finally. I see Anna JAS getting the victory here, though. Although Julia Hart could get some crazy stuff in as well, as she's been very aggressive in the matches I've seen. Hook will defend his title one more time against Ethan Page. Another rematch here. Hook retains. Although Ethan Page winning would not be a bad thing either. But this is just kind of further upping the rivalry now with Matt Hardy and Ethan Page, which is completely fine with me. The Acclaim, Matt Menard and Angelo Parker are an 8-man tag team action. They'll obviously win that. They'll probably take on some jobbers. Swerve Strickland has an announcement, probably to do with Mogul Affiliates. I don't really have much to say about that. And Darby Allin will take on Lee Moriarty. Finally, Darby Allin within this Pillars of AEW rivalry. He's having a match. Lee Moriarty gets an opportunity to prove himself here as well. This will most likely be the main event as well. But I see Darby Allin getting the victory here. Maybe some interference takes place. But honestly, we'll see on that. And then the AEW Battle of the Belts predictions are here as Orange Cassidy looks to defend the AEW International title against Dralistico. And Orange Cassidy, being from the United States, he's representing the United States, and Dralistico representing Mexico in this matchup. I am very excited for this. I think Dralistico probably is signed to either AEW or Ring of Honor at this point. I don't think I ever saw a thing saying he's all elite, but he has appeared a lot lately for AEW. And he's a part of La Facción Ingobernable. By the way, he has a mask. And Rush and Andrade El Idolo, they ripped off the mask of Dragon Lee, and Dralistico has a mask. What's going on there? I don't know, but this will be a good matchup between Dralistico and Orange Cassidy. Orange Cassidy obviously retains the International Championship, in my opinion. But that's what I see about that. Jade Cargill will also take on Billy Starks for the TBS Championship. And Billy Starks getting an opportunity on television here is good. It's great. Billy Starks has lately been wrestling on Ring of Honor television, so there is also that. Billy Starks has potential, and I don't think she's winning. Okay, my prediction here is Jade Cargill wins. Obvious. That also seems obvious, but here's the thing. I think Billy Starks has a lot of potential. I've seen what she can do, and I think she could be a top star one day. But the thing is with AEW talent is they have the potential, and they get the star. They try to push these stars, but then just because there's a rivalry going on with other wrestlers, they seem to lose, and then they get put onto these people where they're having rivalries and they lose. So their momentum goes downhill. And I'm not saying that's not always a bad thing. Because for some, like, it just didn't work out. But for, like, Action Andretti, he had a huge push after beating Jericho in what was in a big upset. That will be talked about for ages, most likely. I mean, people are still talking about it to this day, so that tells you something. But Action Andretti last week takes on Juice Robinson, and Robinson beats him. I mean, of course, Action Andretti, he had some moments, like he did some stuff. It wasn't just a squash match, but it's unfortunate, you know? Because Action Andretti, he had all this momentum, and he lost to Juice Robinson just because Robinson has a rivalry with Ricky Starks, it feels like. And I have a feeling Action Andretti's next television matchup will be against somebody that's currently in a rivalry. And I guarantee you that he's going to lose to that person. It's just upsetting. I know Action's a young guy, and I know he's still got the potential to be a top star, but this happens to more than just Action Andretti. This has happened to Isaiah Cassidy multiple times. This has happened to Mark Quinn multiple times. This has happened to Lance Archer. Now he's barely even used. This has happened to pretty much every woman on the roster except for maybe Britt Baker, Toni Storm, Saraya, and Jamie Hayter. Those might be the only ones that haven't really had much happen. Every other woman has kind of just been thrown to the side or they're injured. I know they're building stuff up for the women, but it's just not going well. I guess Jade Cargill really hasn't had much of being thrown to the side either. She's currently undefeated, and she'll probably stay undefeated until Chris Statlander shows up. But anyway, I see Jade Cargill retaining, of course. And the Lucha Brothers will look to defend the Ring of Honor tag titles against QT Marshall and Powerhouse Hobbs. Look, man, I love Powerhouse Hobbs. He's great, he's talented and all that. But why in the actual hell did you have to do him like this? You had to put him in a tag team with QT Marshall? You're kidding me now? Yeah, Lucha Brothers retain the tag titles, but could you give in Powerhouse Hobbs a TNT title matchup, or even just, I don't know, don't book him at all? This QTV stuff is crap. Him teaming with QT in general is crap. Powerhouse Hobbs deserves to be a monster heel. He deserves to continue on the book of Hobbs without some guy being by his side. And I hate to be that guy, but QT does not need to be by Powerhouse's side. In my opinion, QT is ruining Powerhouse Hobbs. He doesn't need him. He doesn't. And it sucks to see. But I think Lucha Brothers retain the ROH Tag Team Championships. But oh my God. What were they thinking with the QTV stuff and Powerhouse Hobbs being TNT champion was great. But what were they thinking by booking him as another guy who sides with people? It's the same crap over and over again, but you know, it's whatever. I'm not gonna complain about it anymore. That's pretty much all I had to say there. My throat's getting dry. I need a drink. And yeah, I'm not gonna say anything else. This is TPW Talking Pro Wrestling. I'll see you guys on the next episode. Good night, everyone.